Okay, so, one. 10. We can call the meeting to order. Let's see here. Beth, Susan, Mary. Paul, and of course Lauren is present and not present. Well, I see that our if you guys took a look at the agendas, a few things on the agenda right now. We have the fundraising discussion about Habitat. That's the first item on the agenda. So I know that Lauren, last we spoke during our last meeting, we were pretty robust on a lot of things to do with the fundraising side of it. And one thing you were going to do is just check with Chris Senior about if we want to speak at town meeting about their gala that was happening a week or two after that, or do we want to present our annual report to the town in person, or just publish it like most committees normally do? Have you talked to him at all? I know the holidays were there, and
no, I haven't had a chance to discuss the town meeting option with Chris. I will bring it up with him. But I will let you know also that I confirmed the town clerk that they're requesting submissions for annual reports from committees now, which would be due in March. So that as you start to think about this, it's something that you have a written option as well. And that'll be coming up.
Okay, so our annual report is due in March.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And we were going to kind of coordinate what we were doing with the trust.
Yes.
Can I ask a question since you bring up the trust, Paul or Lauren,
Yep.
maybe, do we ever have, we haven't, to my knowledge, any kind of a joint meeting between the steering committee and the trust? And could we try to set up doing something like that on a maybe once a year annual basis, just so that it seems like there's a lot of crossover and yet there isn't for what our kind of different roles are. But it seems like it would be very helpful if we were totally in sync with what the other's doing. And so we're not duplicating efforts, but we're not leaving any gaps. So I don't know, I'm just throwing that out as a question and a suggestion.
So Rob would attend their meetings. I don't know if he attended every one of them, but pretty much most of them. Primarily since we were voting on, turning the land over, those two properties over to the trust, and it was kind of a heated thing. Rob pretty much stayed in touch with them. I have talked with Steve Gallmer a couple of times about getting, after the November, December holidays out of the way, we were going to start trying to pick up where we want to meet. Either I attend their meeting type of thing, or someone from there attends ours. I know Lauren attends both, right?
Yes.
So she's technically a liaison for us in that aspect, but I do need to hear back from Steve. I did talk to Ted Carr over the holidays, and but that was just kind of a casual talk about getting together with the trust and getting some meetings set up. So he said they can meet with us at any time. So we just
When do they normally meet? What is their schedule?
like 8:30 in the morning.
Mornings on Wednesdays.
8:30 on a Wednesday morning?
Yeah, they typically meet monthly.
Okay. All right, well, I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts about that. It just seems like there's a lot that we kind of overlap on, and yet things that we don't. And so I wondered if it might be helpful if we had some kind of a joint meeting.
Yeah, I don't know about a joint meeting, but I'll certainly bring it up. It probably wouldn't hurt to do that maybe once or twice a year where both of us meet at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking, is to try to, not on a regular basis by any means.
Right,
but-
yeah. Yep, I'm taking notes as we speak, so, that's a good idea. Especially since, the habitat will kind of bring us together, I think.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. That's
Yeah.
what prompted it. I had
Yeah.
had a meeting last week, just coffee with Tamar, and, just we're trying to talk about the differences between what our duties are and responsibilities and what theirs are. And so that kind of led into that.
Right. Yeah, so with this on the agenda, the Habitat fundraising discussions, I got an email yesterday, I think it was, from Tamara about getting together with me to talk about different aspects of the fundraising. Lauren and I talked briefly about this as well. Since there's 4 of us, technically 5 with Jen. It probably would be best if we divide and conquer for 2 reasons. One is, as Mary pointed out, we each have different skill sets that, can be brought into the fundraising when it's appropriate. Some people are good at getting the calls out of the way and connecting people, and some people are good at, managing and following through with the marketing and when that starts to come into play. So we could have subcommittees where there's just, 2 people or 3, as long as it's not a quorum, we're good with the subcommittees, so we can certainly do that. This is something we do at Elder Affairs a lot. We have little subcommittees that work on things together, and it's usually 2 or 3 people. And they report back to the board as to, how they're doing and how they're moving along with things. So I think we can kind of do the same thing here. So if we want to find out what aspects the 4 of us want to start to get involved in with Habitat, then we can decide, if we want to work independently with one person there, or do 2 of us want to work with one person at Habitat, how are we gonna do that? So I told her that I would probably be able to meet with her Thursday or Friday this week to kind of lay that part of it out. I told her we were going to discuss putting subcommittees together and start down that path. Is that something that makes sense to everyone?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And Mary, I know you mentioned you could do some of the administrative side of it for us and some of the marketing side of it.
Happy to do that.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm really gonna do is push them to give us a cheat sheet of, where do we start and what are the 5 things that we need to focus on?
Yeah,
And then we can start, drilling down on those 5 things as we start to move forward.
yeah.
So,
It seems so daunting in many ways. So yeah, it would be good to sort of, prioritize and say, okay, where can we start tackling?
yeah,
Well, one of the things is that, apparently they do have some funds, I guess, I don't know how she worded it, like committed from the standpoint of indicated that they will be forthcoming. It's not like they're collected yet, but, they would be forthcoming, but kind of hinging on, what the town does and how things go forward. And I guess that's part of why I sort of brought up the question about, maybe meeting with the trust, because, and I know we touched on this a little bit in our last meeting, but it seems that this being the first project that we will be able to, really look to and sing the praises of as going from an empty lot to a completed dwelling for 2 families, that it would be significant for the town, and the town being the trust, because they're the ones that hold the purse strings. We don't. For them to be the first, to step up and offer a significant or make a significant donation to the project. And I think that would go a long way towards other people, businesses, corporations, and so on, donating, whether it's donating service in kind, or whether it's donating time or donating actual money from a business or individual donating money, whatever. But I think once they see that the town has stepped up and really made a significant donation to it, then I think that will make it easier for us and for Habitat themselves to try to do the fundraising. So it seems like that should be kind of our first step. I'm just throwing that out to you all for your thoughts, but it seems like that's kind of where we should try to begin.
I think that, I bet the trust would say, well, we did step up, we gave them the land, essentially. But
Yeah,
I also think that the sense I got was that the trust is sort of at the end, like, we got to kind of see how much we can rally between what Habitat comes up with, and then what we can raise, and then the trust might enter the picture. I don't see them as stepping right up front. Do you?
I see it completely opposite, I guess, because it seems like, the land was something that the town had. The trust didn't pay any dollars for it. The town had the land from the taking of it for taxes.
Yeah.
CPC, which is basically the residents of the town, have put a significant amount of money into the trust, actual dollars, not just land that was nothing having to do with the dollars. So the
Right.
dollars are there. We all as taxpayers pay into the CPC. The monies were donated with the expectation that they would be used towards an affordable housing something. This is the first one that goes from nothing on the land to an actual building. So I don't know why they would be the last to come into it and wait
So
and see what everybody else does. It seems like they should, at least step forward and make a significant donation first, so that as we go forward and try to do our fundraising, we can say, look, this is what our town has already committed.
so
I think it would make it easier.
there's a point where they come into the process. There's no doubt about it. It may not be at the end. It's certainly not at the beginning. We had discussed this with Habitat, because what you want to do is you want to get all of your donations from these larger groups. The people that donate the siding, the people that donate the shingles, the people that donate the flooring. You want to get all of that out of the way first. That reduces your cost. So then the actual cash that is left remain to bring in is when you bring in, say, the trust that says, okay, there's a gap of 200,000. We'll put in 100 and everyone has to match that 100, right? So that gives us a drive to go out and raise that. And then say we only raise 50. We go back to the trust saying, okay, well, we couldn't get the whole 100, but we got 50. Can you put in the 150? And we obviously will know that they can. But Lauren, you had your hand up.
Yes, so I think that Susan's idea to meet more frequently with the trust is great. And I do think that even if in an interim, if you wanted to just update them on where they are in fundraising, that would be a helpful conversation. It may also be that, the trust members have particular connections that they could refer you guys to, even to branch those things. Even if they're not going to be really in the weeds of fundraising efforts, as much as you guys might. The other thing is that with the permitting that was approved for the trust, they've already committed a minimum of $75,000 towards the project. But whether they would add more to do the gap funding, I do think that they would entertain the conversation. But like Paul just made the point, they're not going to just fund the whole project from the coffers. But I think
course not.
they would be willing to meet in the middle and certainly talk about some gap funding in addition to the donations.
So they've already pledged 75? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry,
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
that was the initial tranche that they put out there.
Okay,
at the
so
beginning.
does that mean that 75 is I think that from Habitat's standpoint, my understanding is that they have to have in their coffers. I think I wrote it down last time, whatever percentage, maybe Lauren, you have it. They need to have a certain percentage of the
Well, they started,
project
yeah.
in hand, not a pledge, because a pledge, well, things could change. And they already have, I think I have it correctly from what she indicated last week, around $230,000 of other pledges from other corporations, businesses, et cetera. So that being the case, 230 there, 75 from Habitat, you're already at around 300,000. And I think we need about 390, something like that, before they can break ground. Am I doing the math correctly?
It's
From what
somewhere,
you're
around-
Sound right, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty close.
Okay, but so that being the case, if the trust puts their money into Habitat, and then these other businesses see that, they put their money in, then we know we're up to like roughly 300,000. Then I think it'll just make it easier for all of us to try to go to the various other businesses and individuals that we can think of. I mean, I was over before Christmas at Mrs. Meckler's Mercantile, picking up some little Christmas gifts for neighbors and such, and ran into a woman who was also picking up something that she's placed an order in advance and was there picking it up. And then we just kind of started chit-chatting. And it turns out she's the owner of that Snow and Jones, I think it's called, the bathroom, you know them, Beth? I think that's the name of the company. And I don't know how we started talking about it, but, and I mentioned something. I said, we're not really doing any soliciting yet, but I said, maybe that's the kind of thing that you all might be interested in. She was very interested, gave me her card and so on. So I think once we have this kind of pledge that we know we've got, let's say, $300,000, it'll be a lot easier to start going around to businesses like that or whoever else and indicate, what our timing is. And the sooner we can start doing that, the sooner they can break ground. I just don't want to see it drag on another year of fundraising.
Yeah, no, they committed to getting this rolling out now so that we could time it with town meeting and their whole event is going to be at the Red Lion Inn. So we kind of wanted to tie all that together. So they're ready to start talking to us about the process and how quickly we can start. So I'll get with her this week and let her know that that's what we're thinking. I'll reach out to Steve Gomer and let him know we're starting the process and that we'll invite them as soon as we get something from Habitat, some sort of format from them as to how it plays out. And then
So what do we need from Habitat? What are you thinking that we need to get from Habitat? Because we
So-
kind of talked around this last meeting and I don't know what's.
They have a roadmap. They have a roadmap that says first you get, your in-kind people locked in, and then you use that as a tool to get people to donate cash, or then
And I
you,
think that's what they've done by getting the 230,000.
right, but they have
As
to
a
lay that out.
start.
They have to lay that out to us so we know who that is, right? So we can get some collateral material from them. Either it's a flyer or a brochure, or maybe we put something on our town website that has that information on it. And we start to promote to people we know, but they want to know who we're talking to, because they're also know some of the same people we do. So we don't want to disrupt the apple cart by, going to ask for $20 when they're asking for $2,000 from somebody, right? So they want to kind of sift through the sand with us real quick for about a week or so to see where we're at on it. And then once we do that, then we get our marching orders for them saying, okay, Susan's going to talk to these 10 people, Paul's going to talk to these 10 people, Beth's going to go to these vendors and see these companies to see what they can do for us, you know what I mean? And then we get back with each other, once a week or once every 2 weeks to say, hey, any updates? So what do you got? Anybody committed? And we move along that way. So that's what we're looking for them to give us a map. That's a critical thing because it's like a project planner, you have to have somebody that, and this is what Mary's expertise will be for us, is she can kind of put all that together on a sheet that shows us where it's going to flow. And then something we can hand over to the trust to say, okay, guys, you're part of this. You're going to help us, in March with this and in May with this kind of thing. So.
Yeah, we just want to move it quickly enough that we can take advantage of
Yeah,
the
it's really
weather.
It's really a kind of a plan or, a flow chart of how it goes is really what I'm looking for them, because they've done this so many times that it's not
Right.
something
They're
they have.
not reinventing the wheel, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
for us, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was on the group for the senior center, and that was very hard. And it was very hard because we didn't have like fundraising experts there to help us say, first you make a brochure and you do a townwide mailing. We did that and not much yielded the townwide mailing because we didn't follow up with the townwide mailing. And we just mailed it to everybody's
Yeah, I
house.
think this will be a lot easier because they've done this so many times before. They know how to recommend, but yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot.
Yes, I'm just feeling impatient because I want to keep it moving.
I hear you. Play the Powerball, then you can help move things along quicker.
And when I get that 1.1 billion,
Is that what it is now? I don't know.
That's
all I
what
know
it
is
is,
this-
1.1 with a B,
the sign at the convenience store only goes to 3 digits, so it says 999.
plus,
Uh-huh.
plus.
Yeah, so, but yeah, so that's where we are with that. I think, like I said, I'll find out from her what she has, and then we can kind of divide and conquer. I remember there was one other person there who was good at handling the vendor side. Somebody else is good at some of the high net worth people that they know that are going to help out. So we'll see what that is. And
I was actually thinking we might even want to do something where if we did it jointly with the trust, that we could see if each of us as the members of the various committees could think of, I don't know, let's say 5 people that we would want to invite and, invite them to a something, maybe
Right.
you do it at Red Lion, I don't know,
anywhere, sure.
someplace locally and just, have them come and just a small gathering. I'm not talking about like a gala kind of a thing, but
Right.
just think of, 5 prospects, you might say, that each of us might be able to invite. Surely we can each come up with 5, and the same for the trust. And we all kind of do it as a joint effort, and then just have it be an opportunity for whether it's Tamar or Noreen or whoever it is from Habitat to come and just talk about this particular project, where we are with it, where we are with the fundraising, what we think about timing, what the project's supposed to be, and then just kind of throw it out there. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be people who are going to sit and with the checkbook, write out a check for, thousands of dollars. But sometimes it's just to get some momentum.
Right.
I
So
don't
they'll know how to best do that. And but like I said, I'll reach out to Steve and get the dialogue going and set up a time where we can meet. And maybe I'll invite him to our next meeting or something like that, so he can hear from all of us. Or even Ted Carr. I don't know who else is on their committee that is, but I think Ted's the vice chair, I think, right, Lauren?
That's correct.
Could you actually send us a list? Not sure I know all the people who are on the committee.
It'll be on the town website under that committee. Yeah,
Yes, so they have 7 members.
Okay, our meeting for today is not on the town website or at least I couldn't find it under like, I don't know, call it agenda or whatever it is
yeah,
for
meeting
schedule.
agendas, yeah. Sometimes you have to click it twice because what always pops up is all of the select board meetings, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was on there, but it didn't show our meeting.
So this happens a lot and I'm not sure why, but the main way to access agendas is through the main front page and the public meeting calendar, because that's where all of the agendas in the chronological order will be placed. If you access the meetings through some of the other links on the website, it automatically always puts select board first, and I'm not sure why. There's like no rhyme or reason to the cadence. So always check the front page of the website, because that's where you'll find the official public calendar at the bottom there.
I think I was on it. I probably just need to learn how to better navigate the town website.
So many links to click.
I know.
Awesome. All right, so does anybody have any more comments or thoughts about Habitat? just reach out to them Thursday, Friday, and then I can send an email out to Lauren and she can disperse it to folks about any updates that we have.
Sure. And Paul, just wanted to let you all know that when the time and you're ready, I'd be happy to introduce, even to loop Tamar in with Justin Schreier, who's our communications and public outreach person for the town, because he can help put together some like media, do some recordings if you want to do some like quick 2-minute interviews that he can then put out on our little channels. So that's an option for you as well.
Okay,
That's a good idea.
I'm actually just looking ahead because we usually meet the second Tuesday, and that's Valentine's Day. And I know Michael and I actually have tickets to go to Hamilton, which I'm very excited about. So I probably won't be able to, we'll probably have to leave too early to be able to be part of the meeting unless we want to change the date. I know that's not where we are in the agenda, but I just happened to look at the calendar.
yeah,
As we're
so
thinking ahead to try to maybe inviting Steve to join us or something like that at the next meeting. I would hate to miss that.
so
to speak
our
in
next
person.
meeting is February 21st.
We could do the
Oh.
21st also. I had put that on the agenda, but I wasn't sure what you all wanted to do.
Yeah.
If we followed
Okay.
the second Tuesday, it would be the 14th, but again, we can change that if the group
Okay,
prefers.
the 21st sounds good to me. Okay.
But yeah, 21st is fine. So
Okay.
we'll do that on there and then.
Make
We have
sure Jen
tentative
knows
March 14th is tentative, but that seems to be a standard. There's nothing happening there March 14th, so those are fine.
I have
Oh, Mary, we can't hear you.
Mary, you started to come in, but we lost you.
I was supposed to talk to Tamar before Christmas and I haven't, but she and I are going to set up a time to talk and, in the next couple of weeks. So just that's my update.
You and who?
Tamar Scheis.
Oh, Tamara?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's who I'm supposed to speak with this week as well, so. Okay, good. All right. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the affordable housing development sites, general updates.
I put together an updated memo for you today. Let me
Okay.
just share that. Hold on. I actually added it to the website as well so that people and the public can follow along, and we'll make sure to update this as needed. But so this is just puts together all of our existing subsidized housing inventory sites that come up that are on DHCD's SHI. We have a pending section here that'll be the 4 units at Cushing Road. We've submitted the paperwork to DHCD. They just needed some additional documentation. So we're just waiting to update that, but that's in the queue. So ultimately, once that's completed, you'll see our SHI count go up to 311.
Boy, I got real nervous on that one because that's where the guy was wielding the chainsaw and all that,
Well, not in that unit.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. I'm like, oh my goodness, I wonder what house it is.
No,
No, he was not there.
different, yes.
Yeah.
And then down in the bottom here, you see the future project sites. When I was putting this together, it kind of really highlighted for us also that 808 Jerusalem Road, in addition to being one of the first major projects we've seen, from imagination to creation, it's also our first ownership units, which is something to be,
Not rental, right?
celebrated. All the rest of the units that we have existing or coming up are rentals. So, it will be great to have some actual ownership units at a deed restricted rate in town. So that's exciting. But as you know, fundraising's underway here. The next 3 projects, 390 CJC Highway, 147 South Main, and 1 Pleasant Street are all under construction. 390 CJC is much further along. As you know, they have partial certificate of occupancies issued for some of the units.
Yeah, they have lights in the windows, some
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, so there's some people who have started to move in, and the first couple of units that they did ensure that those were the 5 that are actually deed restricted, not just the ones that count because of a rental. So people have started to move in, but once that project is completely finished and packaged, we can apply for that paperwork to get those on the SHI. So those would likely be the next to come up. And then 55 South Main Street, it's still listed here as a to be determined. They're still in their permitting process with the planning board and they have yet to reach a
This is
concrete.
Mary. Do you have a way for me to see the whole form? I can't see the top of the form.
Yes, I can zoom out. It just might get a little smaller for you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
That's good. Yep.
Better? Okay. So as I was saying, 55 South Main Street, it's currently before permitting. They have yet to conclude what their inclusionary zoning requirement fulfillment will be. So depending on the total amount of units that they propose, it's either going to be 1 or 2 units that they'll have to.
Did they
provide.
decide what, Lauren, whether it's rental or condos? Are they for
No.
sure?
Not yet, but they're coming back on January 25th for the planning board to present that information. So hopefully
Okay.
they'll have a determination at that point. We'll have a more clear idea of what they're looking at.
So, I have a question, about an existing property, 132 Old
Yes.
Colony Square. How come we don't get to count all 10 or 12 of those units? Why are we only getting credit for 2?
You only get to count all of the units in a rental project if 25% of them are deed restricted affordable, whereas our inclusionary zoning requirements only require 10%. So they had to provide 10% affordability, but it's not enough to count to trigger that sort of 40B loophole about rentals. You have to have a minimum of 25%. That is why, for example, the 390 Chief Justice project, that was a friendly 40B, like a local initiative program application.
Yeah.
So if he had done that project there, it couldn't have been permitted, so it's a little complicated. But if you had permitted that under just a regular development, as it were, a special permit and did inclusionary, you would only see 2 of those 20 units be deed restricted affordable, and you would only be able to count 2 of those, even though it was a rental, because there's 5 units there of the 25, and they went through that separate permitting process. That's why we're able to do the full count for those. And the same thing happened with 1 Pleasant Street, because they elected to give 25% above and beyond what their inclusionary zoning requirement was.
So if Old Colony decided to add 3 more affordable, we could count the whole lot of them?
Yes, in theory.
Would they have to make that in perpetuity?
I think so. There's more nuances to it, but they'd have to go through the permitting process of it. I don't think that they would be financially incentivized to do that, but could you do it? I'm sure there's a way.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought all rentals count, 100% of all rentals counted. I didn't realize it had to be 25% or more.
Right.
It
Okay.
had to be 25% that are affordable units for the whole
Correct,
thing to
yeah,
count,
yeah.
right?
And then all of them count, right?
Yeah, not just the 10%, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good update. Yeah, I know 147 Main is under construction. That's across from St. Anthony's. I saw that going on, so that's good.
And that's commercial on the ground floor and housing above,
Yes.
apartments above,
Yeah.
and there are 4, how many units in it? Apartments?
3 rental, and all 3 he intends to deed restrict.
3. Okay, I didn't know if it was 3 out of the 4 that were, okay, I see the 3 counting, but okay. That's great.
Awesome. All right.
So the
Thank you.
unit that's on Pleasant Street or Cushing rather, there's a for rent sign that's still out there. Is that because one of the residents was displaced and then didn't qualify under the new guidelines, or what's the situation with that? Do you happen
No,
to know that?
so I know that they did not they didn't fill all of the units during the lottery, but they had been
Right.
filling them on a as first come, first served basis. So it may be
Right.
that there's one unit that they just still have not filled, or it may be that they had somebody and they moved out. It really is just gonna be, it'll be available. There will be not another lottery. It's just as it comes up, it will be made available again. So you can join if people are interested. There's a way to join a wait list to be notified, like if an opening comes up, but other than that, if they don't have a wait list, they just, put up a for rent sign, and it's whoever's income qualified that comes next.
Yeah, it has to be, it's still income qualified though.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. Okay, next is the this is vote on 2023 schedule of meeting dates. But right now, all we have for meeting dates is February 21st, and then March 14th is the next tentative one, so
Yeah. We don't need to go any farther than that,
No.
do we?
no, we don't.
Fine for now.
So the other thing, under administrative.
Lauren, does that affect you, if we don't have the schedule in advance about getting space or whatever?
No, 2 months in advance is fine for me. That's sufficient. So thank you.
Okay,
The one thing under, so we'll move on to administrative. That pretty much covers the three things that are in our piece there. So a couple things I wanted to bring up to everyone here, and that is, one is Lauren is going to be fixing that sentence in the bottom of the letter that goes to the select board about dropping us down to just five people from 7. So we'll get that approved by the select board. And then the question we're gonna have for ourselves is, how often do we want to meet once we do that? Do we want to do every month until June and then take, July and August off and meet again in September? Do we want to meet every other month? Do we want to meet on the even number months, the odd number months? It's really up to you guys how often we want to meet. I'm kind of in favor of just sticking to it monthly, only because of the Habitat for Humanity. I
Yeah,
think
I
if we
totally
start
agree.
getting involved in that, I think that's we're gonna need to get together pretty often, and especially start talking to the trust a little more frequently.
Yeah, I think we have to meet monthly for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, at
Just
least
like-
until we can get Habitat, pretty much,
off the ground.
underway. And it's not just, groundbreaking, but, we should still be involved in helping them get people to help go out and hammer nails and just, everything throughout the whole process until you can crack a bottle or do what you need to do. Or what is it like in It's a Wonderful Life, where he brings the salt and the bread and the wine or whatever it is, the salt of life, and, to welcome that family into their new home. That's, until people move in, as far as I'm concerned, we're going to be kind of watching and, every step.
Yeah, I think we need to be on top of it and troubleshooting and whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
okay, so I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to put that out there, just so you guys can put some thought behind it, because I think, one time we were gonna do every other month, and then we kind of got busy again, so I think that
Yeah,
once Habitat is under our belt, then we could probably talk about reducing the number of meetings we
Yeah,
have.
every other month or something, Dan.
Yeah,
Or maybe you'll find your next Habitat site then.
yeah.
I know.
Uh-oh.
Something else will be coming.
Hopefully it won't take, 7 years for that one to get built.
I have a site that's perfect for, well, we had a gentleman contact us about housing for disabilities. And it's a site that I looked at for veterans housing. And it's perfect fit for a lot of what the state puts in place as far as locations go. It's in the village. So there's an acre behind the Red Lion Inn. And it's behind also the rec center. It's got some ledge on it, but you could chisel a spot to put a
Blast it out.
up there, yeah. So
Well, don't
Okay,
take away
actually-
those little parking spaces that are for the electric vehicles. The town has been great about doing these all around town. I think it's wonderful.
yeah,
Great
so
commitment
there's an acre there. And there's other land out there, the end of Evergreen Road is it's got 7 acres back there, in which I believe 3 of it is wetlands, but the other 5 is buildable, or it's the other way around. 5 is wetlands and 3 is buildable, but you could probably still put about 3 or 4 houses up at the end of Evergreen, but so there
Where
are
is
places
that?
out there to do stuff, but yeah, there's an opportunity for that to be Habitat, so you're right. Once we get our first big event under our belt, I think you will have that confidence level to better understand the process, better understand how it works. And then, start thinking about what's next.
Susan, the Evergreen is off of Clay Spring. There's a left-hand turn to Old Pasture Road, and then there's a little road off of that that's called Evergreen. So it's.
Oh, okay, so that's not too far from us, and we're near the high school, so basically,
Oh, yeah. Are you at Pond Street?
we're in 100 Pond Street Development.
So so before you get there, if you turn on Clay Spring Road, then in the back, there's a little street called Evergreen.
Okay, I'll go check it out. Thank you. I didn't know there was any buildable land up in there exactly.
Yeah, it dead ended after, there's only about 5 houses on the street at the moment, I think. It just kind of dead ended there. It goes all the way to the back of Stop and Shop if you were to follow it straight through.
Oh,
It's actually where they've been searching for the
I
last.
was gonna
I
still
was
say
just gonna
that.
say, I think you saw it on the news.
Okay, let's just make sure we don't have any body parts in that parcel we want Habitat to build on.
I think there's someplace else, yeah.
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 I felt
Scattered
so bad.
around.
So over the last 4 weeks, I think Quigley's had more press conferences than Joe Biden.
Yeah. And well, Cohasset's now the new Peyton Place, and I
Oh,
said to my
yeah,
husband,
what a great claim to fame we've had. I was
Pretty-
chatting with a
pretty
woman
soon.
this morning who has fairly recently moved to town from New Jersey, and she said, I thought I was moving to this idyllic, quiet little seaside town, and she said, we've had chainsaw attackers, we've had all kinds of things. There was something, a murder in Marshfield, weeks back.
We got a bad rap 2 weeks ago because we had a basketball game during the Christmas break.
Oh, yeah,
A student from the opposing team punched the ref.
but
So,
that gets
then-
lost in the
But
translation.
Cohasset was in the news.
As
'cause-
long as Cohasset is mentioned, yeah. Well, this one though, it's got international.
So she thought she
Anyway.
left New Jersey and she didn't.
It's like, well, where have I moved to?
So any other member comments? Mary, do you have any comments?
I do not. I've got a cold or something, so I'll keep my bugs to myself.
Okay,
Thanks.
Susan?
No. No, I'm just eager beaver, that's
All right.
all.
You got it. Beth?
No, I think it'll, your idea to try to circle with Habitat and give us a little bit of a roadmap would be helpful. And I think we need to start gearing up, like you said, for getting the word out. And I think Lauren's idea of tapping Justin to help us with some of I think it would be good to start getting some of that out there. This is coming, we're going to need help and that kind of stuff.
And maybe when you meet with Tamara, you could ask her, like what she would envision if we tried to do.
Yeah,
joint-
maybe
a
they
joint-
have some that press releases too, some stuff some template kind of stuff we could use.
One of the things though, is that Tamara is new to her position, relatively new with Habitat.
Yep.
So I'm not sure that she is as familiar with the Habitat roadmap as if she had been there for, 5 years or 3 years or even 1 year. So we
Yeah,
might
I-
have to try to,
Dig for it.
do a little bit of winging on our own too,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, we'll see what we come up with. Any updates from you, Lauren, at all?
I don't have any additional updates right now. I just note for your next meeting, we'll have minutes for you to approve. Mary did send those over to us, so we'll distribute those so you can take a look at those for next time.
Okay. That's good. Did anyone take notes? I took notes for this meeting, so.
You did? That'd be good. I promise next time I'll do the
Okay.
notes.
Oh, no problem.
All right.
I actually write them on the agenda now, so I can remember.
Yeah, I do them for my library friends meeting. So yeah, I'll do them next time. I'm
Okay, no
I'm
problem.
okay with doing minutes.
Yep. No problem at all. So, all right, other than that, I don't know that anything major is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So we will meet again in February 21st, but in the meantime, I'll reach out to Lauren and she can kind of get out to everybody else. Any updates, I'll get a hold of Steve, get the updates for you guys there. I'll have my meeting with Tamara this week. And then if she sends me any attachments, I can send those to Lauren and then she'll send them out to the group.
That'd be good.
That'd be great.
Awesome. All righty.
Yeah,
Do I have a motion
Okay.
to adjourn?
So moved.
motion. Yep, motion
Second,
to adjourn.
Beth? All right. So second by Beth. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. And
Okay. Thank you, and thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, everyone.
take care. We'll see you.
Take care.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Lauren.
Take care now.